Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. I, 29 female, and my husband, 30 male, bought a house and moved in together a few years back after we got married. I met him in high school, and around the time I did, my sister, 28 female, let's call her Kate, transferred after some altercations at her past school. Kate had a boyfriend, 28 male, and they were happy. Once I started seeing my partner more often after we graduated, she started showing interest in my partner. It was pretty obvious that any time I invited her over for sister time and my husband would have been gaming upstairs, she would go upstairs and try flirting with him. I saw this happen over and over again, and I didn't want to call her out on it just yet. I invited over my whole family for a family dinner, and I told Kate she could bring her boyfriend, and she said they weren't together anymore. No comment. The day comes, and the dinner is ready, and I decided to start some conversation. I said, "Kate, where's your boyfriend?" "That's right, you're not with him anymore, so you flirt with my husband." Everyone's jaw dropped in shock, and my sister looked stunned. At the time, like always, my mom sided with Kate and felt bad for her. They got up from the table and went upstairs together, and you could hear Kate crying. Nobody else thought I was in the wrong, so we kept eating and talking about other things. After a good half hour, I excused myself from the table to see what they were doing. I go upstairs and hear them talking in my bedroom about how Kate should be with my husband and not me. I had heard enough, so I busted the door open and they shut up. Kate keeps crying, but it's obvious it's sort of staged. And my mom told me that I should be ashamed of myself, and Kate said that I didn't deserve my husband. I told them that I heard their conversation, and they both go as pale as ghosts in seconds. I yell so loudly at them to get out of my house and to never come back again that the rest of my family heard. My husband's always been that laid-back, chill sort of person, and shows no interest in my sister, but found it very uncomfortable that my sister was flirting with him. Am I the a-hole? Who the duck are these people calling you the a-hole? She's been with her husband since high school, and her sister tries to take him? She eventually would have tried to escalate this if you hadn't stopped it. What the duck is wrong with people? Good for you for finally standing up. Your mom is a double a-hole for what she did. You're most definitely not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. If Kate didn't want to be called out and embarrassed, she shouldn't have knowingly flirted with a married man, much less her sister's husband. The fact that her and your mom said your husband should be with her is revolting. These "you're the a-holes" are wild. How is OP the insecure and spiteful one when her sister can't even be bothered to get her own man? Why should OP treat someone that blatantly disrespectful with respect? Not the a-hole, especially if the conversation between your sister and mother happened. I wouldn't be around sister. I, 37 male, and my wife, 33 female, have no children. We live in a small 2-bedroom house with the second bedroom converted into a game room, office for us. My sister, 32 female, and brother-in-law, 35 male, have 2 kids. Nephew, 8 male, and niece, 9 female. Both are great kids, love them, and would do anything for them. We've babysat for my sis and brother-in-law before, and had no issues until recently. On April 7th, Good Friday, brother-in-law got a call that his sister, 28 female, was in a near-fatal car accident along with 2 of her friends. She had to be airlifted to the hospital. They weren't sure if she was going to make it, so family members were being called in to say goodbye and support the rest of the family. This happened across the state we live in. Sis texted me around 10:40ish that night, asking if I was awake, then called to explain the situation. She then asked if I would babysit the kids over Easter weekend while they traveled across state to be with brother-in-law's family. I told her no, I couldn't. I work in a steel manufacturing plant, she knows this, on a rotary shift, and after Easter on Monday, I would be starting the overnight shifts. I told her that I was going to sleep during the day on Saturday and Sunday and get accustomed to being on 3rd shift. When she asked if my wife would be willing, I again told her no, since she's going to be doing Easter stuff with her side of the family. When she asked why I couldn't sleep in on Sunday, or why couldn't my wife take the kids with her to the Easter stuff, I snapped back at her that I gave her 3 reasons why. That 1, I wanted the weekend to adjust my shift and sleeping schedules, and couldn't do that in one day. 2, my wife wanted to spend Easter with her side of the family. and finally, that no is a complete sentence and that's final. She got pissed, said we'll talk later and hung up. They took the kids, and on the way, Sis texted me that I'm an a-hole for not taking their tragedy to heart, for not helping them in their time of need, that it wouldn't have killed me or my wife to miss a day of sleep or take the kids with her. And brother-in-law's pissed at us. He prays we don't have an emergency and need him, 'cause he'll say no, and he'll want to sleep in. I haven't responded and we're currently not speaking to each other. Going to add, when Sis called, my wife was asleep to get up early in the morning to do her family things. Our parents live in another state. Our other brother lives in another country. I don't know why she didn't call any of their friends when I refused. So, am I the a-hole for not babysitting my sis's kids in their time of need? You're the a-hole. It was a family emergency and his sister was nearly killed. But heaven forbid you should lose a little sleep, or your wife have to include some children in her Easter plans. How do you not see that you're the a-hole? You're the a-hole. I cannot even begin to imagine how terrified your brother-in-law must have been hearing that his sister had to be airlifted to the hospital. The family were literally going to say goodbye. An emergency like that is far, far more important than sleep. And I'm wondering whether or not your employer would have given you time off for this kind of emergency. If that wouldn't have been possible, would it really have been so much of a hindrance for your wife to take them with her to partake in Easter activities? I can't imagine my siblings behaving like this if my husband's family had some kind of emergency like this. How horrifying. Good luck to you if you're ever in an emergency and need their help. This isn't a small emergency. This is a relative potentially dying and people trying to say goodbye. You're the a-hole. Both are great kids, love them, and would do anything for them. No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't even ask your wife if she would take them with her. So my 22 female, sister Iris, 38 female, has 2 daughters, 5 and 7. From the time they were born, I've been helping my sister take care of my nieces. Iris has a husband, David. David doesn't do much in raising his daughters, so I've had to pick up the slack since both the kids were born. I think it's important to note that he has a regular 9-to-5 job at a bank, and Iris is a doctor and works double the time he does. I've had to cancel so many plans, trips, etc., to take care of my nieces when my sister was busy. But David was available. 90% of the time my sister would call me over to babysit. David would be watching sports or hanging out with his friends. I didn't have the guts to say anything when I was younger, so I just shut up about it. Now my sister is pregnant with her 3rd child. While I'm excited for her, I'm dreading it. The 2 girls are at an age where now it's gotten a bit easier for me to look after them alone. I can't imagine having to take care of 3. I told my sister she's going to have to tell David to step up now that I have a job and not much free time. She said, "What's the point of that comment?" I said I've been doing David's share of parenting for 7 years, so she needs to tell him to do more because I won't be playing dad again. She got really mad at me and said she trusts me to look after her nieces because women are naturally better at it than men, which is why the village just consists of women and girls. I said while I'm happy to be her village, I refuse to be a parent to her kids. She hasn't spoken to me in a week. Not the a-hole. Your sister and David made the choice to have these kids, not you. You aren't a parent or their free on-call babysitter. You have your own life to live that doesn't revolve around hers, and she needs to learn that sooner than later. Iris needs a serious wake-up call because if she can't trust David to care for his own children, then she either needs to get a divorce or pay for an actual babysitter. Not the a-hole. Good for you for standing up for yourself. Don't worry about your sister giving you the silent treatment. She'll call as soon as she needs free childcare. Not the a-hole. I'm blown the duck away that her husband can't watch his own kids. Every once in a while, sure, but it's clear you're expected to help with their children. You did nothing wrong, and I'm proud of you for setting a very reasonable, healthy boundary. I've been married to my husband for 5 years, and we have always had a great relationship with his family. However, his sister-in-law, Lisa, has 2 children who have become increasingly difficult to be around. The kids are 5 and 7 years old and are allowed to do whatever they want without any consequences. They run around the house, break things, and make a mess everywhere they go. They are also very disrespectful to me and my husband, often talking back and ignoring us when we try to discipline them. Last week, we were at a family gathering, and the kids were running around, knocking over things, and generally causing chaos. I finally had enough and asked Lisa to do something about it. She just shrugged and said, They're just kids. Let them have fun. I then said, I think it's time that you start disciplining your children. It's not fair for them to run around and destroy everything, and it's not fair to us to have to deal with it. Lisa got upset and said that I was overreaching and that she was doing the best she could. Later that night, my husband's brother pulled us aside and told us that we hurt Lisa's feelings and that we should have been more understanding. He said that Lisa has been struggling with depression and anxiety and that it's been difficult for her to keep up with the kids. I feel bad that Lisa is struggling, but I also feel like her lack of discipline is affecting everyone around her. I don't want to be the one who has to clean up after her children or constantly deal with their bad behavior. So am I the a-hole for telling my sister-in-law that she needs to discipline her children? Not the a-hole. It's better to discipline children at an early age than to regret it later. Not the a-hole. It sucks that she felt uncomfortable, but her poor parenting has led other people to have really uncomfortable experiences, and their stuff to be straight up destroyed. She also demonstrated that she thinks it's acceptable behavior by trying to excuse her inaction by saying they're kids, as if kids are incapable of behaving. Not the a-hole. If the children are disruptive and damage things, it needs to be addressed sooner rather than later for everyone's sake. Maybe brother-in-law should be the one to keep up with the kids if sister-in-law is unwell. My husband, male 30, and I, female 27, are preparing to buy our first home. We both work full-time, making above minimum wage, but not enough that either of us can get a home with our single income. Yesterday, in a conversation with the bank, we were informed that there are 4 collection accounts in my husband's name, all going back to 2018, power, internet, and 2 credit cards. After a few hours, we were able to link each of these accounts to his father's previous address. The bill is just shy of $6,000. After multiple conversations, we have realized the only way to clear this debt from causing issues to his credit rating is to file a police report for fraud. His father died suddenly last September, and my husband doesn't want to tarnish his father's name and is afraid his family will look down on him for doing this. He is on the fence of how this will look if it gets out. I look at it differently. We took a massive hit paying for the funeral. Father-in-law had no money and no life insurance. I know it's his dad, but he will be years recovering from the implications of this. None of the recovery agencies are willing to give us a bill paid in full, and even if we do pay this debt, we will lose the down payment we have busted our behinds to raise again over the past 7 months. We aren't even close to having the buying power we had last September because we only saved about half of our original down payment. So am I the a-hole for asking him to make the police report? It's not an ideal situation, but how much more can I let his father's poor financial decisions in life impact our future, especially now that he's gone? Not the a-hole. He tarnished his own reputation by committing identity theft and fraud. You're living and need your credit cleared. Dead guy doesn't care anymore. Don't bother telling the family. They likely will never even know about it unless you tell them. Not the a-hole. The man in question is dead. Nothing there to tarnish. And you shouldn't be required at the expense of your finances to sweep their bad choices under the rug. If you can file a police report on a dead person, then go ahead, because no one else needs to know about it. It's because of an issue your father-in-law caused, and it will save you money that you shouldn't have to pay. I say not the a-hole. Ultimately, it's your husband's decision, since these are in his name. With my late wife, I have 3 kids, 12 female, J, 11 male, and 7 female. My late wife passed away when our youngest was 7 months old. I've always known that J is biologically not mine. We temporarily split just after our eldest was born. We were both young and stupid at the time. During the split, she had a one-night stand which resulted in J. We reconciled just before she found out she was pregnant. It was clear that he was not mine biologically. He is white with light brown hair and green eyes. His mother was half Indian and half white. I'm black. As far as I'm concerned, Jay is my son. I'm on his birth certificate. I fell in love with him the moment he opened his eyes. I love him like I do my daughters. I've never sat Jay down and told him I'm not his dad. I've been married to my new wife for the last 18 months. Her son, W, 15 male, moved in with us 6 months ago. He used to live with his dad, but after a series of disagreements with his stepmom, it was decided he would come live with us. Since he has been living with us, it has been a difficult adjustment. W and J have been at loggerheads because W thinks he should have J's room, as it is bigger and has a big TV and PS5 in it because W is the oldest. My wife has tried suggesting that we swap the rooms, but I've refused, as this was Jay's room long before they moved in, and I'm not making Jay move rooms because W wants the room that is 6 feet longer than the room he is in. On the weekend, I came home from running an errand with my youngest to Jay and W arguing, with W telling Jay that I'm not Jay's bio dad, so that Jay doesn't need to listen to me. W called Jay an idiot for thinking that someone like me could be the father of someone as pale as Jay. Jay was completely heartbroken at hearing this. I've spent the weekend reassuring Jay that as far as I'm concerned, that he is my son, but I have also explained what happened and that I would support him if he ever wants to search for his bio dad. I told Jay that there's nothing that will stop me from loving him like I do his sisters. I was angry with W for telling Jay this, and I told him that he was grounded for the next month because that was an incredibly cruel thing to do. I've also confiscated the family games console from the living room. The girls don't play it. Jay plays on his own. Only W and I use it. And have told him that I will not be putting it back for a month. My wife is angry that I've grounded W, saying that it's not my place to punish him, and that Jay would find out I'm not his bio dad eventually, as it's obvious that I'm not his dad. She wants me to put the games console back and unground him. Am I the a-hole for grounding my stepson? Edit. Yes, I know that Jay should have always known that I'm not his bio dad. My late wife didn't want him to know when she was alive. She didn't want him or our girls to think less of her for it. However, when she died, my son struggled a lot with her death, and still struggles, but is working through it with a therapist. He struggles with feelings of being abandoned by his mother, and I didn't want to add to that. I had been thinking of telling him soon, as he is in a better place thanks to his therapist and his counseling. Not long after I made this post, my 9-year-old Elle came in and asked if I could change her bedding. She's got a stomach bug and had vomited in bed. In changing her bed, I discovered she had pictures of her mother under the bed. I asked her why these were under the bed, and she admitted she had pulled them out of the recycling because she had seen wife throw them out. Apparently, my wife threw them out as she didn't want to see any pictures of Elle's mother. Elle also told me that my wife didn't like them talking about their mother and wants them to refer to wife as their mother. I was upset when I heard this, as I had made it clear to wife when we started getting serious that I didn't want her to be a replacement for their mother. I wanted a partner who would help in raising them, something I thought she understood. Some Redditors have asked if we have a prenup. We do. This caused a lot of arguments at the time, as I refused to progress with marriage until we had a prenup. Wife is unable to claim the house. It's in trust for the children anyway, or anything that I brought into the marriage. I did not see wife this morning before she left for work, but I will be telling her and W to leave and ending the marriage. My children have to come first. I will also be sitting Jay down this weekend so that we can have a proper talk about what has happened, and I will answer as many questions as I can. Unfortunately, I do not know who his bio dad is. My late wife never did. He was just someone she met on a night out with friends, but I will reach out to her friends and see if they know or remember anything about them. It really does not matter that Jay would have eventually found out on his own. It's W's intention to be cruel and undermine your authority that is landing him in hot water. That's punishment worthy, not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. What W did was outrageous and cruel. I'm equally bothered that he's trying to steal Jay's room. While your wife may want you to discuss punishment with her, maybe you should be discussing whether you want to allow W to continue to live with you. Not the a-hole. And wow, your wife is the a-hole, as is her son W. In what universe does she find this behavior acceptable? Stick to your guns, or your entire home situation is going to be run by W and supported by your wife. This is not okay on any level. By the way, Jay is so lucky to have you for his dad, and you are amazing.